Hey, hi guys, greetings of the day. Hope you guys can hear me clearly. We'll be just getting started. We'll give it a couple of minutes so that people can join in, and then we'll be on our way. Yeah. Hope you guys can hear me clearly. Thank you. Yes, hi. Yeah, guys, we'll be starting shortly. Yeah, in the meantime, please feel free to introduce yourself on the chat. Right, we'll be talking about the strategic case study today, as you guys know. Yeah, so just a couple of minutes, and then we'll be on it. Yeah, thank you for your patience. Right, and please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself. In the meanwhile, yeah, I'll give you a small introduction about myself also before we get started. All right, I guess without further much ado, yeah, we can get started. Right, let me tell you a bit about myself. In the meanwhile, hopefully more people will be joining. Right, so my name is Arvind Suryadev. I'll be your speaker for the day. I am predominantly an ACCA teacher. I did ACCA back in 2013. Right, I went on to also do the CIMA Advanced Diploma. Yeah, so yes, I have some CIMA experience. Right, I've been teaching CIMA students too. So maybe yeah, I can help you out with this strategic case study that you guys are supposed to look at. Yeah, now let's get started. Yeah, once again, guys, please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself and any questions you may have. Of course, we have a Q&A session towards the end, but feel free to post the questions. I'll be addressing them. Yeah. Now, let's get started. So the case study, this time's case study, is about a company called Simulator, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So what do we know about, what do we know from the pre-scene? That's what we want to sum up here. Yeah. And we have some resources that you guys can definitely make use of better. So I'll show you that too. Yeah. Now, what do we know from the pre-scene? Well, this is the introduction of the pre-scene. The Simulator is the company here. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, like a simulator, right? Now, this is a quoted company. That means it's a public listed company. It manufactures electric cars. So generally a big company, yes, manufacturing oriented. Yeah. Now, all of Simulator's products are powered by rechargeable batteries that are linked to electric motors. Very similar to the real world situation of electric cars and electric car manufacturers. You're a senior manager in Simulator's finance functions or a finance senior manager. Now, you report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. All right. So, some form of strategy that you will have to be involved in. Right. Now, Simulator's head office is located in Duxland, a developed country that has an active and well regulated stock exchange. Duxland's currency is the D dollar. Yeah. Now, Dutchland is an imaginary country, right, where Simulator's head office is located. And it seems to be a developed country, so they play the role or some role, yeah, in how the market is, right? Now, it's a well-regulated country also, so expect some level of compliance, yeah. Now, some abbreviations to be familiar with for your exam. Battery BEV, that's a battery electric vehicle. by electricity. There's a PHEV. This is the plug-in electric vehicle. Yeah, cars powered by a combination of electricity and or petrol or diesel. So sounds like a hybrid car. Yeah, with a battery that can be plugged in to recharge. So yes, PHEV, plug-in hybrid vehicle. That's what it would be. Then you do have the hybrid vehicle, cars that predominantly use a petrol or diesel engine to generate electricity to keep a small battery charged. They cannot be plugged in for recharging. Yes, I have driven a lot of cars like this. I'm sure you may have also seen or driven such cars where there is an electric motor in the car, but you don't charge them. Yeah, the engine while it's running that charges the electric motor, right? Then there is a mild hybrid that is, yeah, boosting performance and saving fuel. So very much lines of an HEV. Yeah, I don't think these can be plugged in. They're not plug-in hybrid vehicles. That ICE is what we call our normal cars, internal combustion engines, cars fuel using petrol or diesel. That CPNO, charge point network operator. Now, with electric vehicles becoming quite common, we all know that charging points are the need of the hour. Yeah. So charge point network operator in our scenario would be referred to as a CPNO. Yeah. Now, introduction. Let's get to understand what this industry is like, what the company that we are working for is doing. Yeah. So most car manufacturers have a long history of making ICE cars, just like the real world. Yes. Some, including simulator, have ceased production of ICE to concentrate on EVs. Now, in the real world, also, we have seen brands that have given up completely on internal combustion engines and are focusing on electric vehicles. The same thing here. Simulator seems to be one of those brands in our imaginary scenario. Now, the global market for EV is dominated by three companies. Excuse me, guys. There's a company called Atom, 16.7%. There's a company called Dilson. Okay, I think it's Dyson, yeah. A imaginary version of Dyson, right? So 15.9%. And there is Simulator, 15.4%. Focus on EVs. Yeah. Atom and Simulator produce BEVs. Now, BEV, if you guys go back to the abbreviations from before, you can see what it was. It's a battery electric vehicle, completely electric. Needs to be plugged in or needs to be charged because it runs on electricity. It doesn't have a petrol engine. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, yeah, all three, yes. So Dilson, yeah, produces both BEV and PHEV cars. Now, BEV was your battery electric vehicle. PHEV was the plug-in hybrid. Very similar to an electric car. Only thing is that it's a hybrid car in the sense that there is an engine, yeah, a internal combustion engine like a petrol engine or a diesel engine within the car. Now, most of the smaller companies in the EV top 10 produce a range of different types of cars, including ICE and MHEV. ICE is internal combustion engine, your normal cars, guys. MHEV is a mild hybrid, yeah, as well as EVs. EVs are just an umbrella term for electric vehicles. Now, some smaller companies manufacture HEVs. HEVs are hybrid electric vehicles. More advanced, a little more on the electric end compared to EVs. MHEVs are mild hybrids. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Duxland market. So the Duxland EV market context, the macro environment here. So the macro environment and the micro environment, as you guys know, the macro environment is the bigger system or looking at the country itself. So Duxland's EV market here, the shift to EV, overview of the national push internal combustion engines, yeah, not international, right? So here's an overview of what's happening. So generally, see, with a lot of countries, this has been happening in the real world also. Countries have been moving away from internal combustion engine cars to electric cars. Now, government regulations and incentives have been driving adoption. This, I would say, has been happening in a lot of countries. I actually personally witnessed this when I got an electric vehicle here in India. Yeah. Now, environmental pressures and consumer sentiment has been quite the factor for pushing EV sales. Now, this is true. The reason most people buy EVs is because, well, EVs are less noisy, they're less vibrate, they're less shaky. Yeah, the whole experience is a more smoother experience when you're driving them around. Environmentally speaking, it is supposed to be good for the environment. Yeah. And yes, the times are changing. Right. Now, market segmentation, different charging needs. There are residential charging needs, motorway charging needs, regional charging needs. This is how the market is segmented. So let's look a little more into that. Of course, competitive landscape. There are 12 CPNOs. CPNO is a charging point network operator. Yeah. So the differentiation by location, on street versus motorway, and there is differentiation by coverage. There are national network operators and there are regional network operators. Similarly, there are on-street network operators and motorway network operators. That's how we're going to differentiate them. That's how we're going to look at our competition. Then technology that is being used, basic operation. Yeah, they have an app, a QR code, secure payment systems. So basically, you can charge your vehicle on one of these charging points and pay through an app. Yeah, this sounds very reminiscent of the real world, right? So Simulator, now the company that we are part of, was established in 1952. So that makes it quite an old company, manufacturing a range of ICE cars. So they started with cars, yes, normal cars, internal combustion engine cars. Now the company was quoted on Dutch Stock Exchange in 1968. So yeah, so the company then has been the automobile industry for a while. What I can see here is that 60 years of producing, yes, normal cars, ICE cars, and then they shift to, well, electric vehicles, and now they're completely all about electric vehicles. And they're a listed company from a long time ago, also, something to note. Yeah. Now, by 2020, they had completely phased out cars. So in 2012, they started selling EVs. Yeah. And they made a name for that. And then by 2020, 8 years down the line, they have phased out the normal type of cars, the ICE cars, replacing them with your BEV model. Now, BEV is the battery electric model that are designed to be the best in their respective classes in terms of range, performance, and value for money. Now, I wouldn't say think Tesla because Tesla started predominantly with electric vehicles. Think of a brand like Ford, yeah, which has been around for a while, right? That has then moved on to only electric vehicles, or a brand like Toyota or a brand like Volkswagen, yeah. Now, moving on from there. Simulator, the different models that Simulator sells. There is the Tiny, there's the Trap, there's the Twist X, and the Scotch. Not the best names for cars, I guess. Now, almost every vehicle comes in several different versions. Absolutely. Each version or trim offers its own variety of features and equipment. Now, again, very reminiscent of the real world. The same model of car will have different versions that are being sold. I can buy the base model, I can buy the more premium version of the same car, right? So the differentiation in these models would be the different types of features that you get, the different equipment that you get. Nowadays, there are a lot of features that come in cars. Yeah, computers. Cars are little computers, right? At this point, yeah. Now, anyway, each of Simulator's models can be purchased in three trims. So this is the differentiation of these are the different levels of the product that they have: Base, Lux, and Grand Lux. Yeah. Now, these three versions, yes, for all models of Simulators cars, and I have four models here, right? So four models with three levels. Yeah, essentially that's seven versions. I mean, not seven, sorry, 12 different versions, you could say. Now, there are six simulator factories. Dutchland Northern, yeah, this is where the Twist X cars are made. Dutchland Central, this is where Scotch cars are made. Eastland is where lithium batteries are made. Farland is where the electric motors are manufactured. Vinland is all about trap cars, and Groveland, yeah, which is all about the tiny cars. So this is where the manufacturing happens. There are six factories in six different locations. Now, what is the business model here? Let's try to understand that a bit. So revenue stream is primarily charging fees, electricity usage, right? Cost structure for this, yeah, acquisition, installation, and maintenance of charging points. So basically, what they're planning to do here is have a charging network that charges people to charge their cars. Yeah. So when I want to charge my car, I have to pay the electricity provider. Yeah. So these people have outlets, and I'm sure you guys, yeah, that's what's going on here. Let's check it out. So the cost structure involves acquisition, installation, or maintenance of charging points. Yeah. The cost of electricity supply, right? App development and payment system costs. Yes, maintaining a payment gateway, maintaining an app that lets customers do this. Quite important indeed. Yeah. Then pricing strategy. See, competitive pressure in city centers, yeah, means low. Yes, for certainty or convenience. Yeah, not bad. I think that is a real thing. See, range anxiety is something real that electric vehicle owners have. Yeah, it is the anxiety that you kind of face when you're not sure if there is enough range or enough juice in your car to get you to your destination. So they are capitalizing on that, as you can see. Yeah, competitive pressure in city centers, because in city centers you're not running for long distances. Your car doesn't need charging so often. You're probably close to home, but higher prices on the motorways. Why? Because you're probably going for a long distance. Yeah, and people value certainty. Yeah, having a fully charged battery is definitely better. Yeah, than having a battery on the brim of, well, low charge. Yeah. Now, customer interaction happens through the account creation on the app, downloading the app, also account creation on the website, downloading the app, scanning the QR, and then there's an automated payment. Again, very reminiscent of how these systems work in the real world. Moving on from there. Simulator, yeah, miscellaneous points. The cars are sold through a worldwide network of 4,000 predominantly from a company. I mean, their head office is in Duxland, but that they are worldwide. They sell through 4,600 dealerships around the world. Pretty cool. Then many governments like Duxland's have set targets for banning sale of new ICE cars after 2030. I think this is true for some European countries. Some European countries have been gearing up, yeah, to go completely electric by 2030, which has its own benefits and disadvantages. Now, here anyway, the government of Duxland is trying to do that. So are other governments also. So they're trying to ban the sale of new ICE cars after 2030. Now, ICE cars purchased prior to 2030 also. Nor will it prevent drivers, yeah, from buying used ICE cars on the second-hand market. So yeah, that will not prevent, yeah, the use of ICE cars that were bought before. So ICE cars are not going to be completely off the road. It's just that from 2030 there won't be any more sales of traditional internal combustion engine cars. These cars that were bought prior to 2030 will still be plying on our roads. Yeah, and there is nobody or no regulation as of now to stop sale of ICE cars on the used market. Yeah. Then simulators beta is 0.56. Movement in share price, share analysis, Excel. Okay, that's a good thing. So beta is 0.56. That means not that risky. That's a great thing. Yeah. And the movement in the share price, yeah, share in financial analysis sounds excellent. Okay, let's see if we have any more information regarding that. So here is the board structure. Yeah. We have the CEO, Kezu, right, is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. Edwin Mitt is the Operations Director. Anna Paul is Research and Development Director. Research and development would be quite important for a company that sells electric vehicles because it's the future. Yeah. Then Suhas Patak, okay, some Indian guy, yeah, is the Finance Director. Right. Stella Freeman is the Sales Director. Now, what do each of these directors have to do? The Operations Director, Edwin Mitt, has to control or is responsible for factory operations, human resource management, health and safety, yeah, operations, right? The research and development director is well in charge of research, product development, and also looking at sustainability. Now, Suhas Patak, the finance director, is in charge of financial reporting, management accounting, and treasury. Now, I hope you guys know what these things are. Financial reporting involves your IFRS. It's essentially financial accounting on steroids, or the end process of financial accounting, creating the reports, creating the financial statements that the users, yeah, of the financial statements will use to make financial decisions. Now, financial reporting is important. Yes, captures all of your IFRS standards there. Management accounting is accounting for the management, yeah, so that the management can make decisions that help running the company better. The treasury function is all about, well, arranging money and also uh, arranging money in the sense, yeah, how to finance projects, how to finance the company, arranging financing methods, looking at different financing methods, and then also avoiding risk or regulating risk. What kind of risk am I talking about? Interest rate risk, your forex risk. This is what the treasury does. You could say treasury does a sort of money control, yeah, money management sort of thing, right? That would be an oversimplification, of course, but yeah, I hope you guys get the idea. Now, sales director Stella Freeman, what is she in charge of? Well, marketing, dealership relationships, yeah, dealership relations, customer service, and public relations. Yes, okay. So not just sales, then PR also, not bad, right? So this is the structure of the executive part of the board, right? Now, what about the non-executive part of the board? Because ideally, right, there should be, for good corporate governance, there should be an equal mix of EDs, executive directors, and NEDs. I hope you guys know that. Now, I see four NEDs here, and I saw four EDs. Sounds good. Yeah. Now, Suren Pillai is the non-executive chair, right? He is part of the audit committee and the risk and corporate social responsibility committee and the nomination committee. Okay, not very good, I would say. Then Salim Hegassi, senior independent director, is part of the audit committee, no problem, and the remuneration committee. Okay. Usma Musaret, independent non-executive director, is part of the audit, risk and corporate social responsibility and remuneration committees. Stabatios Katsochis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, independent non-executive director, part of risk and CSR, remuneration and nomination. Now, the chair being part of the audit committee is not something that personally I find a good way of corporate governance. Yeah, that could be a problem. So I feel there could be potential problems in how the non-executive board is set up, or the non-executive part of the board is set up, right? Now, let's talk about new stories. Where should you charge your EV? This is what's happening in Dutchland, right? The story is on the news. So local governments are reluctant to commit to the installation of public EV charging points. It's a chicken and egg problem. Like, should the charging points come first? Should the cars come first? If there are enough cars only, we'll put the charging point. But if there are only enough charging points, people would buy the cars. Otherwise, why would people buy the cars? Right. So it's a chicken egg problem here. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, should you worry about battery degradation in your EV? Now, this is a real question since I also own an electric vehicle. Yeah. This is a question that has run through my mind a lot, right? Because they keep talking about how in 5 to 8 years, whatever electric vehicle you have, the battery kind of gets old. And this is true. If you have anything with the battery in it, we see this with our mobile phones, with our laptops. Yeah, these things do kind of age after 5 years. And by aging, I mean they go bad. Yeah, in the sense, I'm not talking about outdated technology. I'm talking about the fact that the batteries don't retain charge anymore, or they get too old because of all these charging cycles. And this is affecting what causes battery degradation, the amount of charge a battery can hold. Yeah, and that has been on the news. So things that EV companies may have to address when they actually, operate in such environments, right? This is effectively, yes, everything that we saw in, the pre-scene. Right now, the exam format, I'm sure you guys are better experts at this than me, right? But I hope you know there are three scenarios for 1 hour each. It's a total 3 hour exam. Each task will have its own unseen information. So the pre-scene information, something I always tell students, whether it's pre-scene in ACCA or whether it's pre-scene in CIMA, the rules remain the same, guys. The pre-scene only sets up the stage. What's going to actually happen depends on the further information that is given in your question paper or in the question itself. Now the tasks will be based on the ICANN statements. I hope all of you know your ICANN statements, right? Now integration is key. Knowing information from the pre-scene material, and from the unseen material, and even the tasks, of course, reading in between the lines, trying to understand what's the relation between the questions given here. This is what's going to get you your marks. So make sure you keep that in mind, right? Now, key themes that can come up from each of your papers. So let's start with P3 here. So the P3 theory that can come up: audit and controls, most definitely. Internal controls, I saw a bit of the audit committee there. So maybe something related to corporate governance and compliance risk. I already see compliance risk there. The SCREAM acronym. I hope you guys know what it stands for. Very important, right? And SAMSOAP acronym. The TARA model, right? A model that I'm also quite used to, the risk mitigation model. This is your transfer, avoid, reduce, accept model, right? And then compliance risk, because it seems to be a regulated environment. Dutchland seems to be a well-developed, and the company that we are talking about, simulator, is a public listed company. So all kinds of rules can apply. So compliance risk is definitely on the heavier end. Health and safety risk also, working with batteries. Every day, or not every day, okay, at least once in five, okay, no, maybe I'm exaggerating, once in 2 weeks I do hear about an electric vehicle catching fire. So that's a real thing, right? So health and safety risk could revolve around that, and among that other things also, because they're working with batteries and new forms of technologies. Now, what else? Well, E3. In E3, what will we be seeing? Pricing decisions. Choosing what would be the right price, the different pricing techniques that you guys need to know. And I wouldn't say behavioral aspects of pricing, but using pricing in a way to get more sales. Centralization versus decentralization. Should we have a centralized approach to things like treasury, centralized approach to things like the finance department, right? Or should it be a decentralized approach? What works better? Scenario planning, making out a plan of your scenario, figuring out what will be the returns on the scenario, right? Or what we should look into, what we shouldn't look into. So more of a strategic analysis, you could say. A strategic analysis always starts with understanding where you are. Strategic point, sorry, strategic planning analysis. You first have to know your position, and then based on your strategic position, you have to come up with the choices and then implement one of them. Once you implement, you got to keep monitoring also. This is the normal strategy process. So some of which, yes, you will see through scenario planning, and we do have the SWOT analysis, probably one of the easiest things out there. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, analysis. Project management, something that, yes, does come up in E2 also, coming up in E3, right? So make sure you know how project management works, maybe a bit of change management, what needs to be done, the different models that are applicable there, and yes, corporate culture. Yeah, when you're trying to bring together companies or trying to go to a new location. Yeah. Moving on, what about F3? The financial aspect, the financial paper. You will be seeing the share price and the beta. Yeah, the beta was given to us. The beta was quite clearly mentioned. So looks like the capital model may make a cameo. Yeah. Now the MH theory, right? The dividend irrelevancy theory, pre and post bid defenses. Yeah, your integrated reporting. Now pre and post bid defenses, guys, one of my favorite topics. What defenses does a company have when people are trying to take it over? There are defenses like the poison pill strategy, right? First one that comes to my mind. There is the white knight. So actually, there are quite a few strategies. So please check out these strategies. The directors can employ. Yeah, they may or may not work in has to be situation specific, of course. So pre-defense, yeah, pre-bid defense is before the company is taken over. Your post-bid defense is after the company is taken over. Yeah, integrated reporting. Yes, you guys may know about it. Talks about the six capitals. Yeah, not just your financial capital, other capital like human capital, intellectual capital, right? Your relationships capital. I forgot what it was, but the six capitals that come up. Yes, a big part of integrated reporting. This is a new thing, and it is quite a relevant thing also. And you do have dividend irrelevancy. This is from Eminem's theories. Yeah, quite the far-fetched theories that Eminem used to have, right? So, dividend irrelevancy theory was, yes, most definitely one of my favorite theories, where they do talk about relevant as long as money is going the money is going up. Money in the sense the share price is going up, because they said that shareholders don't care. Shareholders can always manufacture dividends. If the share price is going up, they can just sell shares, yeah, and then manufacture dividends. Now by MH theory, I'm thinking it is the M&M theory only, right, where we talk about VAT and taxation. Yeah, so watch out for that, guys, right? Other than that, let's see what other themes can come up. Now, IT issues, yeah, problem scenario variants could be based on these things. Number one, IT issues. Now, with electric cars, yeah, recently I was told by a friend who had bought this very expensive electric car that he can't go above 30 kilometers per hour. Yeah, that's very low in miles, right? So he can't go above that because of some kind of a software update and a software glitch in between and whatnot. So yeah, these things are essentially computers on the road. Yeah, electric cars. So IT issues can be quite relevant, more so compared to our traditional ICE cars. Data security and data privacy. Yeah, ransom and social engineering. Yeah, so if data security and data privacy, you guys know what that is. I don't want my data in the hands of somebody else. The data I'm giving the company. Yeah, for example, if the company is recording, yes, driving data from wherever I go, location based. Yeah, I don't want this data in the hands of somebody else. Absolutely not. Ransomware, on the other hand, is malware that tries to blackmail you. Basically takes control of your device, yeah, and then tells you to do something so that you can regain control. Quite a problematic thing. Yes, we have seen companies in the past being hit by ransomware. Now social engineering is where somebody tries to guess your password or guess your credentials by knowing. They'll try to play the person, not the game. Yeah. Now growth strategy. Yeah, what kind of growth strategies could come up, or possible scenarios related to growth strategy? Well, managing disruptions to strategy. What could be problems that affect the way our strategy is played out? Yeah, trying to manage them. Then Ansoff metrics. Yeah, the Ansoff metrics is quite useful. Should you write what kind of growth should you have, a new market, new product? Yeah, brings to my mind not just the Ansoff metrics. It actually brings to my mind a bunch of models, right? So growth strategies, yes, please do look into it. Could be a possible scenario variant that, I mean, could be a possible scenario that the variants could be based on. Yeah. Then corporate governance, yes, we already saw that the board of directors was split into two. They were talking about how there are EDs, how there are NEDs. So good chance that there will be some corporate governance related questions or some kind of corporate governance related task. Yeah. Here, yeah, balancing the board would be important. There are five EDs versus four NEDs. Actually, that's true. I think I saw only four EDs. My bad, guys. I didn't count the CEO. If that's the case, yeah, we are already off to a problem here. You guys can see that five directors, yeah, on the executive board or the executive part of the board. Non-executive part of the board is only four directors, and the chairperson is in one of the committees. Ideally, you don't want the chairperson of any of the committees. So balancing the board may be important. Yeah, chair should not be on the audit committee. There you go. That's the point that I was referring to. Yeah, and an IT director is missing. See, an information technology director could be quite relevant. Yeah, for a technology, right? A strategic case study. This was the case study that came before, guys. This was Dijstruck. Yeah, hopefully, yes, nobody wrote this, right? I hope you guys got through. If you now, these are the different variants that came up. I won't be going through each of the variants in detail. Let's go through a couple of them, though, right? And we can also talk about the core activities that were tested. Now, in variant one, we saw the first task. Yeah, excuse me. Environmental protesters have blocked the entrance to a rival logistics company's warehouse. Should Dijstruck recognize such protesters as stakeholders? So this is where you have a stakeholder analysis to do. Yeah, it brings to my mind, right, stakeholder mapping, Mendel's stakeholder mapping, right? So this is where you would look at the power and the interest that have, so conduct an analysis of stakeholder needs and recommend appropriate responses. So taking care of stakeholders, that yes was the core activity that was being tested. Now in task one itself, the second question was, how should Dijstruck manage the risks associated with such protests? Evaluating risk, so a big part of risk then, yeah, and recommending responses. So risk management, basically that's what comes in, evaluating risk, understanding, yes, what is important, what is not. Now risk matrix, yes, risk can also be looked at two factors, yeah, and that would be the impact of it and the probability of it. Yeah, probability and frequency, right? And this was ANSOF, yeah, if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah, please do check on that. But guys, remember the metrics, right? This is where you evaluate whether the risk is important for us, and then yes, we do recommend responses. Yeah, absolutely. So in the risk register, we will have all of this listed out, and we'll talk about the different types of risks and the related responses to them. Yeah. All right, then task two, increased use of rail is being considered. Okay. Would shifting from road to rail have a positive impact on all stakeholders? Now, this is strategy evaluation, guys. Yeah, your study area, your core activity A, evaluate strategic options, digital and otherwise. Yeah, here it's not digital per se, it's from road to rail. That is the change of strategy happening here. Now, how should the increased investment in rail facilities be funded? Recommended suitable sources of financing. Yeah, how should financing be done? Another important section, make sure you know how to balance different forms of financing, yeah, and to find out the ideal WACC. So theories on WACC could be quite important. Then task three, Dijstruck plans to commit itself to replacing a significant number of road vehicles with trains. Okay, would it be unethical to claim that this move was motivated by a desire to achieve UN sustainability development goals? Oh, okay, so ethical dilemmas and looking at them, recommending proper responses for that. That's what we'll be doing here. Personally, I don't think it's unethical, but I can comment on that, right? So, should Dijstruck establish sustainability, board sustainability committee? Well, recommending responses to threats arising from poor governance. That is section E, or that's core activity E, where your compliance and corporate governance and all of that comes up. So, quite the interesting variant. Yeah. So that was one variant. There are 6 variants, as you guys know, right? Let's go through one more variant, see if there were any differences or if it was more or less the same core activities being tested. Yeah. So the board is deciding whether a new type of container would be a suitable strategic investment. How might scenario planning assist the board to decide whether this would be a suitable direction for the company to pursue? Again, evaluating strategic options, yeah, before we implement them. We're doing here, which strategy is a best fit for what we already do, what we are trying to achieve. So all of this revolves around what are our objectives. Yeah. Then funding this development might involve breaching a loan covenant. How would a lender decide whether to grant such a request? Ooh, this is again financing, guys, recommending suitable sources of finance. That's what we see. That's core activity C. Yeah. Task two, the board is concerned about the impact that currency movements might have. Okay, foreign exchange risk. Yeah. How might risks associated with the impact of currency movements on grain imports be evaluated? Yeah. Now, I'm thinking that would be recommending responses to economic, political, and currency risks. Yeah, broadly speaking, it's risk management. Yes. Particularly, this is currency risk management, right? And it could be a bit due to the political environment also, or the economic environment. So being able to relate those things, quite important. Then, how should the currency risk be reflected in the risk register? Once again, risk management, guys, evaluating risk and recommending responses that can maintain the corporate risk register. Yeah. Now, we see a bit more of section D being questioned here, right? And what is that? The board is concerned about the protection of IP. Yeah. In a new trailer, okay, so intellectual property, I'm guessing, yeah, new trailer design, it is ethically acceptable to restrict access to this new trailer technology given Dijkstru's vision, identify ethical dilemmas and recommend suitable responses. All right, cool. So once again, we are, yeah, risk management, it revolves around risk management, ethics and safeguards. So yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. That's the core area being tested. How might internal audit assist the board in ensuring that the intellectual property associated with the trailer design is protected? Applying internal audit resources. So corporate governance, all of that comes under Section E, as we saw earlier. Yeah. So that's what we see once again here, right? Section E, core activity E is what is being tested. Now, there are three more variants, guys. I'm not them, as you can see. It's more or less the same kind of core activity, or the core areas remain the same. It's just the way the questions are. Some things to note, of course, last time they did ask about your suitability, acceptability, feasibility framework, the SAF criteria. Yeah. There were questions regarding, yes, post acquisition risks. Yeah, safety risks have been identified post acquisition. How serious are safety risks that have been identified, and how might they be controlled? Again, I need a lot of contextual information to tell you the right answer to that. But what it is testing is core activity D. Yeah, recommending internal controls being a part of risk management. Yeah. Now, moving on, Bill 4, another variant that was there, right, had more or less the same things you guys can see. I do see some problems with the governance. The chief operating officer, yeah, was a problem. Then evaluating strategic options, even Dijkstra had some electric vehicle that they had announced. So that was a part of this. Ethics and such, yes, Section D and a bit of Section E that we see with governance and everything, right? Section D talks about risk, ethical dilemmas, risk management, all of that. Section B is more of an analysis of stakeholder needs, and we see that in task one. Yeah. Now, variant 5 had once again more or less the same things being questioned, but in different ways. So this time, cyber risk was questioned here, and proposals evaluated in the digital ecosystem. Yeah. So again, evaluating different strategic options. Yeah. Recommending responses. Opportunities and threats you arising from digital technologies. Interesting. Yeah. So evaluating strategic options, finding the way forward, all of that. Then how currency risks can be managed is part of your, well, not particularly risk management. It's partly risk management, yes, but it's also risk created due to the macro environment. Yeah. So you see a of the core activity B there. Now, moving on from there, guys, I see, yes, ethical dilemmas and recommending suitable responses, your usual risk and ethics problems. Yeah. And I do see the corporate governance again, Section E. Yeah. Now, moving on last variant. In this particular variant, yes, more or less the same things. Anything different, anything quite interesting. Scenario planning was brought up. Scenario planning involves analyzing different strategies, choosing the right strategy, implementing it, monitoring it, making sure that the scenario is always, yes, yeah, the scenario is well thought out. Yeah. Then turbines are imported. How could it create economic risks? A bit of risk management. I see a bit of stakeholder needs and recommending appropriate responses. That was with regards to a company being acquired, a specialist company. Yeah. And what challenges can happen during the negotiation? Well, again, recommend and apply a business valuation model. Oh, interesting. So, business valuation, guys, I hope you know the different models: asset based, market based, cash flow based. Make sure you know them. They're quite easy to learn. If you know them, easy marks. Yeah. And recommend internal controls was also tested through a manager being appointed at the subsidiary. And what should the manager's remit be? Oh, interesting. This is because managers have been reckless with regard to load sizes and weights. So some kind of controls that you have to bring in to make sure that managers play. Yeah. Then, should board members appointed from the acquisition board be dismissed, and how might the impact on the control? How might that impact on the control environment? Once again, here, this is with regards to your compliance, governance, and such, right? Dismissing somebody is not the issue. Dismissing somebody could be problem, especially if it is related to the NEDs or the EDs on the corporate governance structure. If this could affect your corporate governance structure, that could be a bit of a problem. Yeah. Now, with that, guys, this is what we have as a mock. Yeah, on Learnsignal. Yeah. So at Learnsignal, you can try out all these mocks. You will get corrected results, and you can see where you're lacking. You can see what you need to build more on. With most students, there is always something known as a knowledge gap. Students know something, examiner is asking for something else. By the time the answer comes out onto the answer sheet or wherever you're answering, it becomes, yeah, worlds apart. So to avoid that, right, you can try out our mock. We have, yes, a mock based on simulator. Yeah, we have the ransom threat question based on that. We have a question based on the board responsibilities. Short selling our shares, interesting. Ethical arguments for against informing police. Oh, okay. So some kind of problem. Then confidentiality of information, preying in crypto, and ethical issues over that. Ways to establish how data breach occurred. Chicken and egg problem. That is, should the chargers come first? Should the cars come first? Yeah, we do have a question with that, right? Then risks missing in the register and mitigating actions, or some risk identification, risk assessment, right? Risk evaluation, risk management. Yeah. Then integrated reporting KPIs. That's what we see on the third question. Yeah. Key performance indicators are KPIs, guys, if you're wondering, right? Integrated reporting means you go beyond your traditional reporting. There will be reasons as to why we see the financial numbers, because in traditional reporting we only look at the results, and that's the financial performance captured through the financial statements. In integrated reporting, we try to understand why the financial reports are like that. Yeah, so that's why it's interesting that way. Cool. Now, this is the mock that is available. Yes, there are more. There are more study resources on our website. You guys can absolutely check it out. Yeah, it's quite cool, right? So coming back here, guys, this is a success story. Yeah, Ken was a student with us for CIMA. He passed 4 papers. Yeah, with the help of Learnsignal, and you can read his testimonial here, right? Yeah, and he's given us a great rating. Not bad. Yeah, and you can see his results also on the side. So wow, quite the good results indeed. Yeah. Moving on from there, right? Our mock writers review previous CIMA question papers. This is the process that goes into creating the said mocks to ensure that the current mocks reflect actual questions that can be posed in the exam. And we also provide a kit applying all the I can statements to the pre-seen material. So you can check that out. Most definitely helpful in your learning journey. Now, our AI, which I'll be showing you in just a second, our meeting is not done. It's drawing to an end, yes, but it's not done. I'll show you guys the AI. Yeah. So this artificial intelligence model that we have ensures you have all the answers you need on any paper. Actually, it's quite a useful tool. We've already fed in some details like the pre-seen material and all that. So you can directly ask pre-seen related questions to the AI. I'll show you guys that, right? And all this is available to our students with our premium subscription. Yes, so premium subscription is what you should be getting. Yeah, if you're serious about clearing clearing CIMA. Yeah, my bad. Clearing CIMA just like our student Ken. Yeah. So to know more about the subscription packages, drop us a mail, guys. info@learnsignal.com. Yeah. Currently, we have more than 350 CIMA students, right? And we have more than 350 students, CIMA students at any given time, right? And we've already won the CIMA Digital Transformation Award for this year. Hopefully another award next year too, right? Now, moving on. Yes, technically, this is the end of the webinar for the strategic case study, the case study insights presentation. Yeah. Now, this is the Q&A session, guys. Your questions are most welcome, right? And I'm your speaker, Arvind Suryadev. But before we go from all this, please feel free to post your questions. In the meanwhile, I'll show you guys, the AI I was talking about. I hope you guys can see my screen. See, this is Harmony AI. Yeah, this is my dashboard. So I have the ACCA dashboard because, as mentioned, I predominantly teach ACCA. Yeah, but when you guys sign up for the premium subscription, you'll also have a similar dashboard. Maybe not a tutor's dashboard, but a student's dashboard, and it'll be the CIMA dashboard. Right now, what is the use of really wait for your tutor or your doubts? You don't have to wait for all that. I can just ask random. What is WAC? Sure, any AI engine can probably answer that. What makes Harmony AI special? Yeah, right now I don't think, since I have right. Okay, so contextual answers. Oh, Harmony AI thinks it's contextual. So tell me the different theories of I think maybe if I post a different question, let's see if it does. Okay, wait, hold on. I think there is something wrong with the way it has loaded. Yeah, because I usually ask the same questions to Harmony. Yeah, and Harmony seems to be working fine. Let's see what's wrong with it. All right, what costing would suit Halfpenny? Now, Halfpenny was from a previous case study, right? I don't think the case study would be there on my end because this is the ACCA dashboard, not the CIMA dashboard I mentioned earlier. But I should be able to know, what is NPV or some simple question like that. Let's see if it can pull up the details. Yeah, there you go. Now, this is a very simple question. Let me see if I have a little more of a complex question. For example, So let me see if I can your net present value. It's a financial metric to evaluate the profitability of an investment. You compare the present value of the returns to the present value of the investment. Now, moving on from there, wait. I have a question here. Let me just copy this. If you guys can see my question being pasted. So extracts from company Z's accounts are given here. Yeah, it's basically a table that I've copied. Now it's poorly copied as you, yeah, turnover is 200, operating profit is 50, interest payable seems to be 10, so the profit before tax is 40. Yeah. Now, what is company Z's interest cover? Tell me which of the following options is correct and which are wrong with explanations. Now, that's the catch here, guys. So it's not just about asking what's right, it's also about asking what's wrong. And hey, explain to me why it's wrong. So let's see if Harmony AI can do it. So interest cover is a financial ratio. Okay, wait, hold on. Ratio that measures a company's ability to meet its interest payments. Absolutely. If you guys don't know interest cover, it's PBIT, your operating profit, divided by the interest payable. Excuse me, guys. Why do we do this? To understand how risky or how much financial risk a company has. Because if a company is making 10 million and 10 million is being paid as the interest, that's very risky. Here, the company seems to be making 50 million and the interest payable is 10 million, which means the interest cover is 5 times. Now, 20 times is definitely wrong because that's much higher than the actual answer. 5 times is the correct answer. 4 times, again, does not match the calculated ratio. The ratio has been quite well explained here. Yeah. 2 times is also wrong because it doesn't match the calculated ratio. Yeah. Now, so Harmony AI is quite useful for learning on the go. Whenever I teach ACCA, if I have a quick doubt of any theory, I can look it up here. I do look it up here. Yeah. I believe it's better than Google's Gemini engine. Yeah, I've been using that also on the side because, Google search. Yeah. So please try this out, right? This is something that can be quite helpful. This is part of our subscription package. Now, yes, with that, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to discuss with Learnsignal. Questions about the strategic case study, maybe your general CIMA preparations. Yeah, pretty much anything. So feel free, right? The chat is open for questions. All right, I don't see any questions. So yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, right? Thank you for your time. Yeah, I hope this seminar was useful, right? My name is Arvind Suryadev. Yeah, and this was the CIMA Strategic Case Study Insights presentation from Learnsignal. Yeah, you guys have a great day. Thank you, and bye bye.